The combination of lowering of melting point and increasing of conductivity is there in any of the options. It is a derivative of penicillin, okay? It's not the one which is naturally occurring. So can you have orthonitrotoluene or orthobromotoluene as your option? Cryolite is used to increase the conductivity as well as reduce the melting point. See, when there is an acid and a base, they cannot exist together because they will react and they will form salt and water. Dissociation, and S2- sulfide ion concentration is very low. Welcome to part 3 of Karnataka CET 2015 chemistry question paper. We'll see the 41st question. Iodoform can be prepared from all except, I'll read the options: propan 2-ol, butan 2-one, propan 1-ol and acetophenone. So what is it? Iodoform can be prepared from. So for iodoform reaction, what is that which is necessary? That is, we should have CH3 C double bond O group, or at least CH3 CH OH group. That is, the OH group should be attached to a secondary carbon atom. Okay, so if these two groups are there, then iodoform can be prepared. We'll see the option in which it is not there, because iodoform can be prepared from all except. So you have to tick the answer from which you cannot prepare iodoform. Okay, so first one, propan 2-ol, that is, we have CH3 CH OH CH3. So you have this group, iodoform can be prepared. Butan 2-one, so it is CH3 C double bond O CH2 CH3. So you have CH3CO group. So butan 2-one also has a group. Propan 1-ol, that is CH3 CH2 CH2OH. Here you do not have such groups. Thus, iodoform cannot be prepared from propan 1-ol. Acetophenone again has CH3CO group. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. Next question, 42nd question. Identify Q in the following sequence of reaction. So we have this compound which is first treated with PCl5 to give P, which is then treated with NaNH2 in excess to give Q. So what will happen when I first treat it with PCl5? I will get the product as the hexane ring. The oxygen will be substituted with 2 chlorine atoms and it will form this particular compound. Okay, cyclic hexane group remains as it is. This one further, when it is treated with NaNH2 in excess, dehydrohalogenation takes place. What is it? Dehydrohalogenation. So you will have 2 chlorine atoms and 2 hydrogen atoms getting removed. You will get it as C triple bond CH. So which is the correct option? You have the triple bond here. So option C is the right answer. Next question. Cryolite is, before I read the option, where is cryolite used? It is used in the extraction of aluminium in Hall-Héroult process, isn't it? That is, cryolite is added to increase the conductivity, as well as cryolite is used to increase the conductivity as well as reduce the melting point. Correct? So if you know this very clearly, it is very easy to take the right answer. Okay? So we'll read the options. Option A, cryolite is used in the electrolysis of alumina for decreasing the electrical conductivity. This is wrong. We are not decreasing the electrical conductivity. It is used to increase the electrical conductivity. Cryolite is used in the electrolysis of alumina for lowering the melting point. This is right, but not only lowering the melting point. We'll see whether the combination of lowering of melting point and increasing of conductivity is there in any of the options. So option C, if you see, cryolite is used in electrolysis of alumina for lowering the melting point and increasing the conductivity. This is absolutely right. So it is option C which is the correct one. Option D we'll see, cryolite is used in electrolytic refining of alumina. No. Okay. So it is option C which is the right answer. Okay. 44th question. Which of the following compounds of xenon has pyramidal geometry? So we have options here, XeOF4, that is the structure is Xe with 4 fluorine atoms and 1 oxygen atom, and there is 1 lone pair of electron like this. Okay. The next option is XeF2. This is linear structure. Okay. Then we have XeO3. This is the one actually which is pyramidal. That is, it has got this structure with lone pair of electron. And the last one is XeF4. This is Xe with fluorine atom, and we have 2 lone pair of electrons like this. So they are asking us which has got pyramidal geometry. So it is XeO3. Okay. Next question. After adding non-volatile solute, freezing point of water decreases to minus 0.168 degrees Celsius. Calculate delta TB if Kf is equal to 1.86 Kelvin kg per mole and Kb is equal to 0.521 Kelvin kg per mole. So what they are asking us to find out? They are asking us to find out delta TB. Okay. What is given? They have given Kf value and they have also given delta Tf. That is, what is the depression in the freezing point. Okay. That also we can get from this question. So delta Tf is equal to Kf into molality. We know this formula. Delta Tf, how can I get? They have given after adding non-volatile solute, freezing point of water decreases to minus 0.186 degrees Celsius. So freezing point of water without a solute is 0 degrees Celsius. So what will be delta Tf? It will be 0.186. Kf value is 1.86 into molality. So I can get the molality, that is nothing but 0.1. Correct? Now, can I find out delta Tb? Yes, of course. Delta Tb is equal to Kb into molality. Kb value I know, molality I know. I will have to substitute and get the value. 0.521 into 0.1 is 0.0521. So the answer is 0.0521. Actually, you don't have to work out or write at all. If you know the formulas, it is done just mentally, because see 0.186 divided by 1.86 is 0.1. Then 0.521 into 0.1 is 0.0521. It is very easy calculation, isn't it? So you don't have to actually write, only for your convenience to understand. I have done it completely. Okay. So the option B is the correct answer. Next question. 46th one. Plot of Maxwell's distribution of velocities is given below. Which of the following is correct about this plot? T1 is smaller than T2, F1 is greater than F2, T1 is greater than T2, V1 is smaller than V2, or V1 is lesser than V2. Okay. So from this graph, what I can understand from the x-axis is V1 is greater than V2, correct? V1 is greater than V2. That means, of course, T1 also should be greater than T2. Okay, T1 also should be greater than T2. From y-axis, what I am getting, that is F2 is greater than F1. So we'll see which is the correct option. V1 is greater than V2. So D is wrong. T1 is greater than T2. This is the right answer. T1 is lesser than T2 is wrong. F1 is greater than F2 is also wrong. So option C is the right answer. Okay. Next question. The pair of compound which cannot exist together in solution is sodium bicarbonate and NaOH, sodium bicarbonate and H2O, sodium bicarbonate and Na2CO3, that is sodium carbonate and NaOH. See, when there is an acid and a base, they cannot exist together because they will react and they will form salt and water. Correct? Here, in this case, it is bicarbonate and water, so it can exist. In this case, sodium bicarbonate with sodium carbonate, both can exist together. Sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide, both again can exist together because one is neutral and one is basic. Okay. Here what happens in the first case is sodium bicarbonate with NaOH. Sodium bicarbonate is slightly acidic. Slightly what? Acidic. And we know NaOH is basic. So they will react with one another. NaHCO3 plus NaOH will react with one another to form Na2CO3 and H2O, that is a neutral salt and water will be formed. Okay, that is the reason option A is the one which cannot exist together. Okay, next question. What amount of dioxygen contains 1.8 into 10 power 22 molecules? Here if you observe the options, you can see it is the same number, but you should know where exactly the decimal point is placed. Okay. First option A is 0.0960, option B 0.960, option C 9.60, option D 96.0. So 9, 6 and 0 is the answer which you are going to get, but you have to be very careful with the decimal point where exactly it is placed. Okay. So how do I solve this? What is the amount of dioxygen in grams contains 1.8 into 10 power 22 molecules? Dioxygen is O2 and its mass is 32 grams. 32 grams contains 6.022 into 10 power 23 molecules. So if I have 1.8 into 10 to power 22 molecules, how many grams will be present? So it is 32 into 1.8 into 10 to the power 22 divided by 6.022 into 10 to power 23. So I'll move one point, this will become 22 and it will get cancelled. So what will remain is 32 divided by 60 into 1.8 will remain. Here what I can do is just rounding off if I take. So if I just take it as approximate, 1s are 2s are 2, 1s are 2.9. 0.9 is something we'll get, or if I get the exact answer, it will be 0.960. Okay, so the answer is option B. Okay. So I hope you have understood this particular problem. Next question. Using MOT, compare O2 plus and O2 minus species and choose the incorrect option. So we'll just see the option whether we have got something in common. Okay, O2 plus have high bond order than O2 minus. O2 minus is less stable. O2 plus is diamagnetic while O2 minus is paramagnetic. Both O2 plus and O2 minus are paramagnetic. So we have to know the bond order and their magnetic property. We have to choose which is incorrect. Yavadu tappu anta helbeku. Okay. So O2 plus and O2 minus. First of all, how many electrons are there? In two oxygen atoms, there are 6 electrons. One is lost, so it is 15 electrons. Here 16, one extra is there, so it is 17 electrons. Both are odd number, so both are paramagnetic. Correct? Odd number of electrons if it has got, it is paramagnetic. Okay? Then 15 electrons is present. What is the bond order? For 14 electrons, the bond order is 3. So 15 electron is less 0.5, you have to reduce. So it's 2.5. For O2 minus, for 14 is 3. For 16 is 2. For 17, it will be 1.5. Okay. So here it is 1.5. So from this data, we'll see which is the incorrect one. O2 plus has higher bond order than O2 minus. This is right. O2 minus is less stable. Correct? No, bond order is less means the stability is less. So this also is correct. Okay, statement is correct. O2 plus and O2 minus is diamagnetic and O2 minus is paramagnetic. This is where the statement is wrong, and this is the option which you are supposed to tick. Option C. Okay. Option D, this also is correct. Both O2 plus and O2 minus are paramagnetic. So option A, B and C, the statement is correct, and option C, statement given is wrong, and that is the answer which you are supposed to tick because they are asking you incorrect option to be ticked. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is not true? Erythromycin is bacteriostatic antibiotic. Ampicillin is not a natural antibiotic. Option C, Prontosil is not converted into sulfanilamide in the body. Vancomycin is a broad spectrum antibiotic. So it's about antibiotics they have asked. Erythromycin is a bacteriostatic antibiotic. That's absolutely right. It's bacteriostatic, not bactericidal. Ampicillin is not a natural antibiotic. It is a derivative of penicillin. Okay, it's not the one which is naturally occurring. Vancomycin is a broad spectrum antibiotic is also absolutely right. We have to tick the wrong option. So which is not true they are asking. This is the one which is not true. That is Prontosil is not converted to sulfanilamide in our body is given, but it is actually converted. Okay. So this is the wrong statement which is not true. Next question. In the reaction, sulfur plus 3/2 O2 gives SO3 and plus 2x kilojoule is liberated. SO2 plus half O2 gives SO3 plus y kilojoules is liberated. Heat of formation of SO2 is what they are asking. So option A is x plus y, x minus y, 2x minus y, 2x plus y. So we'll just solve this and then we'll see which is the correct option. So what do I need? Heat of formation of sulfur dioxide I require. So what is given is sulfur plus 3/2 O2 giving sulfur trioxide is liberating 2x kilojoules. Okay. Next equation is sulfur dioxide with half O2 will give sulfur trioxide and delta H is minus y kilojoules. Okay. What I require? Heat of formation of sulfur dioxide. So I have to reverse the second equation, that is SO3, okay, is forming SO2 plus half O2. So delta H will become plus y kilojoule because I have reversed it. Now if I take this as first equation and this the reversed one as second equation, if I add those two equations, what I will get? See, sulfur trioxide and trioxide gets cancelled. Then we have 3/2 and here half if I take out, just O2 will remain and I'll get it as sulfur plus oxygen, sulfur dioxide. So what will be delta H? I have added 1 and 2 equation, correct? No. So it will be minus 2x plus y. This is the answer. Okay. But do I have the options here? Minus 2x plus y. Options illa. Andre, idu grace marks. This question has got grace marks. But this is the correct answer. As the options did not have the correct answer, it is allotted grace marks. Okay. So I hope you have understood this question. Next question, 52. Arrange the following compounds in the increasing order of their acidic strength. So I have these 4 compounds. I have to arrange them in what? Increasing order of their acidic strength. So we'll see meta-nitrophenol. So I have meta group nitrophenol. Next is metacresol. Metacresol andre OH CH3 is in the meta position. Then we have phenol. The last one is metachlorophenol. So here what you can observe is you have the substituent in the meta position. Okay. So here this is the electron withdrawing group. Here also it is an electron withdrawing group. Here it is electron donating group. We know that electron withdrawing group is there. Stronger the withdrawing group, higher the acidity or increases the acidic strength, isn't it? So 1 is most acidic. Then comes 4, because for this one it is 4. This is 4, this is 3, this is 2 and this is 1. Okay. So 1, then comes 4, then you have phenol. Last is which contains electron donating group, that is cresol. Okay. So where is the correct option? A and D ruled out because 4 they have given, 1 and 1. So it can be B or C. 4 they have given. So it is option C which is the right answer. So I hope you have understood. Whenever there is an electron withdrawing group, acidic strength will increase. When there is an electron donating group, acidic strength will reduce. Here it is only all of them have the substituent in meta position or they do not have the substituent. Based on that we have given the correct order. Okay. Next question. In the sequence of the following reaction, what is the starting compound P they are asking. Okay. We'll see the options here. Orthonitrotoluene, metanitrotoluene, orthobromotoluene, paranitrotoluene. So it is toluene which is there. Okay. So this is toluene if I take. Okay. See the last end product. It has got bromine in ortho position. Okay. KMnO4, alkaline KMnO4 is a strong oxidizing agent. Correct. So the CH3 group eventually could have got converted into COH group, and in ortho position you have bromine. So can you have orthonitrotoluene or orthobromotoluene as your option? No. You cannot take in ortho position. Okay. Metanitrotoluene and paranitrotoluene ali. Paranitrotoluene is if it is present, that is if I have here, then in ortho position bromine in the first step can come and that will remain as it is till the end. Okay. So your answer may be paranitrotoluene. Okay, it looks like, but we'll write and see whether it is correct. So first we have taken paranitrotoluene. Bromine we have added. So it will go to the ortho position to give this compound. Okay. Next with tin and HCl, what will happen? See 1, 2. So here you are going to get reduced compound, that is you will get CH3 and Br will remain as it is. Instead of NO2 you will get NH2. Okay, here reduction is taking place, NH2 group. Now you have an amine group present, so NaNO2 plus HCl at 273 to 278 Kelvin. What will happen? Diazonium salt will be formed. So NH2 group will get converted to diazonium group. So you are going to get it as CH3 Br and you will get it as N2 plus Cl minus. Okay. Further, when H2O with H3PO2, that is acid hydrolysis, what can happen? nitrogen can get completely liberated. So what will happen here? Nitrogen will get completely liberated. Chlorine also will go away with as it is acid is present. Okay. So H plus ion is present. It can go completely and you will get this group completely removed. So you are going to get it as CH3 and Br. Further, when it is stated with KMnO4 with OH minus, that is alkaline condition, CH3 group can get converted to COOH group and bromine. So you are going to get the exact product. So answer is para-nitrotoluene. Okay. So I hope that you have understood this particular question. Okay. Next question. Acetic acid is treated with CaOH twice and the product so obtained is subjected to dry distillation. The final product is ethanol, propanol, propanone, ethanol. Okay. So we'll write the reaction, we'll get the answer. Acetic acid is CH3COOH. When it is treated with CaOH twice, what is going to happen? You are going to get it as CH3COO, Ca, CH3COO. This is further subjected to dry distillation. CH3CO with one more CH3 group will be removed. So you will get CH3COCH3 plus CaCO3, calcium carbonate. So what is this? This is propanone or acetone. So your answer is option C, propanone. Okay. So I hope you have understood this question. Next one. The correct statement is BF3 is strongest Lewis acid among the other boron halides. Bi3 is the weakest Lewis acid among the boron halides. There is a maximum p-pi back bonding in BF3. There is a minimum p-pi back bonding in BF3. So which is the correct statement they are asking? One is related to its acidic strength, whether it is a strong Lewis acid or a weak Lewis acid, and the other one is related to its p-pi back bonding in BF3. Boron trifluoride we have got. Okay. Here what happens is there is p-pi back bonding. That is, from boron, the empty p orbital is bonded to fluorine's completely filled p orbital, and that is called as p-pi back bonding, because of which BF3 becomes a weak acid compared to other boron halides. So, the statements if you see, BF3 is the strongest Lewis acid. This is wrong. Bi3 is the weakest Lewis acid among other boron halides. Even that is wrong. BF3 is the weakest. Here also BF3 is not strongest. It is the weakest Lewis acid. There is a maximum p-pi back bonding in BF3. This is the correct statement. There is minimum p-pi back bonding in BF3, which is wrong. So option C is the correct answer. Okay. So I hope you have understood this question. Next one. Which of the following compounds possess CH bond with the lowest bond dissociation energy? They are asking which CH bond, in which of the compounds CH bond is easily broken. That means it has got least dissociation energy. We'll see the option: toluene, benzene, N-pentane, 2,2 dimethyl propane. So I'll just write the structure. First one I have is toluene, CH3. Then you have just the benzene structure. Then you have N-pentane. N-pentane is CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. And the last one is 2,2 dimethyl propane. So you have CH3, C, CH3, CH3, CH3. Okay. Now here, where carbon-hydrogen bond is easy to break. If you carefully see, carbon and hydrogen is easy to break in this particular option. Why? Because this one will be involved in hyperconjugation. Involved in hyperconjugation. Okay, this particular electrons involved in carbon hydrogen bond, or it may be this carbon hydrogen bond, will involve in hyperconjugation, so it is very easy to break them. Okay, so the option is option A, which is toluene. Again, what is hyperconjugation? Well, I have already studied. Okay, so only here hyperconjugation is possible, isn't it? That's the reason it's very easy to break. Okay, next question. In the presence of HCl H2S results the precipitation of group 2 elements but not group 4 elements during qualitative analysis. This is due to. So what are they asking? In the presence of HCl, H2S results in precipitation of only group 2 but not group 4. We know that in the analysis of basic radical, group 1 we are adding HCl, for group 2 we are adding for the same, that is your OS plus HCl, we are adding H2S. Then group 3 it is original solution plus you will add ammonium chloride salt, dissolve it and add excess of ammonium hydroxide. Group 4, for you will take the original solution, add ammonium chloride salt, then add ammonium hydroxide and then you will add H2S in excess, isn't it? So you are adding H2S in group 4 and in group 2, but in the presence of HCl, why only group 2 elements are precipitated and not group 4 is the question. So we'll see the option: higher concentration of S2 minus, higher concentration of H plus, lower concentration of S2 minus, lower concentration of H plus. So it is related to concentration over here. Okay. So which is the effect which we can see here in the presence of HCl when you add H2S? It is common ion effect. Correct? So what exactly is happening is HCl will completely dissociate to form H plus and Cl minus. Okay. Then when you add H2S, this will partially dissociate to give H plus and S2 minus ion. The concentration of S2 minus ion is low because of the common ion effect. H plus ion is the common ion which is there, due to which all the H2S will not undergo dissociation and S2 minus sulfide ion concentration is very low and it is sufficient to precipitate only group 2 elements which is having less solubility. It is not enough to precipitate group 4 elements. Okay, that's the reason only group 2 will precipitate. So what is the answer? Low concentration of S2 minus due to common ion effect. So we have to search the answer. Lower concentration of S2 minus is the correct answer. Okay, so I hope you have understood this particular question. 58th question. One of the following conversion results in change of hybridization of geometry. They are asking, in one of the conversions there is change in hybridization and we are supposed to tick that correct answer. So option 1, if you see, methane and C2H6, that is ethane, both are alkanes and in both the hybridization is sp3. Correct? Ammonia NH3 has sp3 hybridization, which you have already studied, and NH4, what is it? Is it sp3 hybridization? We'll just calculate half into, what is valence electrons in nitrogen? It is 5 plus hydrogen, how many are there? All are monovalent, so it is 4 minus 1 plus 0. Why minus 1? Because it has got a plus charge here. Okay, so it will be 5 plus 4 is 9, 9 minus 1 is 8, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 4 means it is sp3 itself. So both are having sp3 hybridization. Whereas if I take BF3 to BF4 minus, it is BF3 to BF4 minus, boron, it will be half into number of valence electrons is, number of valence electrons here is 3 plus this is monovalent 3 plus 0 minus 0. So you'll get 6 divided by 2 is 3, which is sp2 hybridized. Similarly here if you see, the only change which you have to do is half 3 plus 4 plus 0 plus plus 1. Okay, the negative charge has to be added here, so plus 1, so it becomes 8, 8 divided by 2 is 4, so it is sp3 hybridization. So it has changed from sp2 to sp3. Option C is the correct answer. Whereas option D, in H2O oxygen is sp3 hybridized, here also it is sp3 hybridized, no change in hybridization. Okay, so I hope you have understood about the 58th question. Next question. Water softening by Clark's process uses CaHCO3, NaHCO3, Na2CO3 and NaOH twice. In Clark's process, what is it we are using? We are adding lime, that is CaO we are adding, plus water, because we are adding it to water, it will form CaOH twice. Okay, so CaOH twice is the one which is used in Clark's process for softening of water. Further, this will react with calcium and magnesium salts and they will precipitate as calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate. Okay, last question. An alkali metal hydride NaH reacts with diborane in A to give a tetrahedral compound B, which is extensively used as reducing agent in organic synthesis. The compound A and B are, I'll just write the equation, then of course we can tick the correct answer. Okay, metal hydride NaH, okay, with diborane, that is B2H6. When it reacts in the presence of diethyl ether, we'll get Na plus BH4 minus. Okay, so this is the compound formed. NaBH4 is the compound formed. So this is B and this is reacts in the presence of A, that is diethyl ether. We have to see which is the correct option. So we have NaBH4, diethyl ether is C2H5 twice O. So option D is the correct answer. So I hope you have understood this particular question. That's it for now. We have solved all the 60 questions of Karnataka CET 2015 paper. Stay tuned, stay updated. We'll come back with some more solved question papers for you all. Thank you, my dear children.